Imagine a small grocery shop in Germany that dared to take on the world's biggest supermarket chains. This is the story of Lidl, a company that rose from humble beginnings to challenge giants like Walmart and Tesco. But the journey wasn't easy. From risky expansions to unexpected failures, Lidl's path is full of lessons in strategy, resilience, and bold ambition. Stay with us because the twists in this story will surprise you.
Lidl's roots trace back to 1930 when Joseph Schwarz partnered in a German wholesale grocery business called Lidl & Co., primarily dealing in tropical fruits. After World War II, Joseph resumed building the business, laying foundations for what would become the Schwarz Group. It was his son, Dieter Schwarz, who took the decisive step into discount retail. In 1973, Dieter opened the first Lidl discount store in Ludwigshafen, Germany, inspired by the no-frills, low-price concept pioneered by Aldi. Not wanting to call it Schwarzmarkt, which literally means black market, Dieter sought a different name. He bought rights to use the name Lidl from a retired school teacher and former business partner for 1,000 German marks, about $500 at the time. This quirky naming story avoided an unfortunate connotation and gave the brand its identity. By 1977, Lidl had grown to 33 stores in Germany, cementing its place in the emerging discount supermarket revolution. From the outset, Lidl operated on a hard discount model, a limited assortment of goods, largely private labels, small store formats, and extreme cost-cutting measures to allow rock-bottom prices. This approach mirrored that of its chief competitor, Aldi, and focused on efficiency at every turn, stocking products on pallets, keeping staff lean, and eliminating frills like elaborate displays or free shopping bags. Shoppers might not find endless varieties of each product, but they would find the lowest prices on staple groceries, which became Lidl's hallmark. Over the years, Lidl's relentless operational efficiency, from supply chain optimization to no-nonsense store layouts, proved successful. The company expanded rapidly beyond Germany's borders once the concept took off. Investing heavily in private label products, often 80 to 90% of its offerings, and maintaining strict cost discipline, Lidl could consistently undercut traditional supermarkets on price while still turning a profit. This strategy of quality for less appealed strongly to budget-conscious consumers and allowed Lidl to transform from a small regional grocer into a retail empire. Starting in the 1990s, Lidl embarked on an aggressive expansion across Europe. After success in its home market, it opened stores in other countries, entering France, Italy, the UK, and beyond throughout the 90s and early 2000s. For example, Lidl opened its first UK store in 1994. Consumers initially viewed these no-frills German supermarkets with curiosity and sometimes skepticism, but the timing proved advantageous. During the 2008 financial crisis and subsequent economic downturn, shoppers across Europe increasingly turned to discounters for better value. Lidl, along with Aldi, gained traction by offering essential goods at unbeatable prices when household budgets were tight. In the UK, for instance, Lidl and Aldi exploded onto the scene around the 2008 crisis and rapidly went from niche players to mainstream grocers. By 2018, the two German discounters had doubled their combined UK market share to about 13%, siphoning customers from traditional chains. Incumbent supermarket giants like Tesco, Carrefour, and others were forced to respond, cutting prices and even launching their own discount formats, such as Tesco's short-lived Jack's chain, to stem the loss of shoppers. These moves underscore just how much Lidl had shaken up the grocery market, pressuring competitors to adapt. By the mid-2020s, Lidl operates in over 30 countries with a network of more than 12,000 stores. It has a presence in almost every European nation, from Portugal to Poland and from Sweden down to Greece, and continues to enter new markets. Plans for stores in Albania and North Macedonia by 2025-2026 are evidence that Lidl's European growth hasn't ceased. In some countries, Lidl swiftly rose to near the top of the grocery sector. For example, Lidl now accounts for roughly 8% of the UK grocery market, a remarkable feat in a fiercely competitive landscape. However, expansion hasn't always been smooth. Lidl withdrew from Norway after a few tough years 2004-2008, due to poor sales and political pushback, showing that not every market embraced the discounter model immediately. Overall, though, Lidl's European expansion has been a story of relentless growth as value-seeking consumers across the continent fuel its rise. Key competitive strategies. Lidl's growth is deeply tied to its competitive strategy, which provides valuable lessons in business efficiency. Cost leadership. Lidl's core strategy is to cut costs at every opportunity and pass those savings to customers. Non-selling expenses are kept to a minimum, stores are compact and utilitarian, products are often sold straight from shipping cartons, and 8 out of 10 items are Lidl's own private labels, which are cheaper to produce than national brands. By controlling most of its product lines, Lidl maintains bargaining power with suppliers and achieves economies of scale. This obsessive cost focus has enabled Lidl to consistently offer lower prices than traditional supermarkets, carving out a strong competitive edge. Limited assortment means simplicity. A typical Lidl stocks only a few thousand products versus tens of thousands in a large supermarket, concentrating on the fastest-moving everyday goods. This tight selection streamlines operations, smaller stores, faster inventory turns, and less complexity to manage. Shoppers enjoy a quick in-and-out experience. As one analysis noted, Lidl's no-frills, compact stores not only reduce overhead, but also make shopping simple and quick, which many customers appreciate. The simplicity of assortment also reinforces the cost savings. Fewer items to stock means less waste and more bulk buying power on those items. Private labels and quality. Despite low prices, Lidl has worked to shed the image of cheap and nasty goods. It invests in improving quality for its private label ranges, from fresh produce and bakery items to award-winning wines, to prove that inexpensive can also mean good quality. This has helped attract a broader customer base, including middle-income shoppers, especially after the 2008 recession when many tried discounters and were surprised. Lidl's ability to deliver acceptable quality at low prices builds customer loyalty and undercuts competitors who traditionally relied on big brands or premium perceptions. General merchandise specials. Lidl, like Aldi, uses limited-time non-grocery offers from kitchen appliances to clothing to create excitement and higher margins. These weekly specials, often marketed as "when it's gone deals," draw additional foot traffic and complement the low-margin food items. This strategy not only boosts profits, but turns shopping into a bit of a treasure hunt, differentiating the experience from a typical grocery trip. Adaptability. Over the decades, Lidl has shown an ability to adapt its model to new trends and markets. It introduced in-store bakeries across Europe in the 2010s to satisfy demand for fresh breads and pastries. More recently, it has been expanding organic and health-conscious product lines as consumer preferences shift. Lidl's strength lies in sticking to its core model while tweaking details to fit local tastes or changing times. This balance of consistency and flexibility has been crucial in competing effectively in different regions.
Battle of the discounters. Lidl versus Aldi. No story of Lidl is complete without discussing Aldi, the fellow German discounter that blazed the trail Lidl followed. Aldi was founded decades earlier, in the 1940s, by the Albrecht brothers, and had already proven the discount model in Germany and beyond. Dieter Schwarz openly emulated Aldi's concept when launching Lidl, essentially becoming Aldi's fiercest competitor in the discount segment. The rivalry has been intense, but also mutually beneficial. Each pushed the other to improve. Both chains operate with strikingly similar formulas: minimalist stores, private brands, low prices, so competition comes down to execution and expansion speed. In many European markets, Lidl and Aldi now go head-to-head, forcing each other to keep prices low and standards up. The competition has yielded some interesting contrasts. Marketing surveys in recent years found that customers often rate Lidl higher than Aldi on key factors like price, freshness, and quality. Lidl tends to carry a slightly broader range of brands, including some local or regional products and wines, whereas Aldi is often even more tightly focused on private label. Younger shoppers, 18 to 24, have shown a particular affinity for Lidl, suggesting Lidl's brand has built a trendier or more favorable image with the new generation. Meanwhile, Aldi's longer tenure in many countries gives it a larger store base and often higher total market share. For example, in the US, Aldi opened its first store in 1976 and now operates over 2,200 locations, whereas Lidl, a late entrant, has under 200 US stores. Still, the overlap is significant. Roughly half of Aldi's regular customers also shop at Lidl, indicating that many consumers happily visit both chains for bargains. One could say Aldi and Lidl have created a duopoly in the discount segment. They pay close attention to each other's moves. When Lidl expanded aggressively, Aldi stepped up its game, for example, modernizing some stores, adding more fresh items. When Aldi achieved a major milestone, such as Aldi UK recently becoming the fourth largest supermarket in Britain, it underscored how both brands together have upended the market. Their rivalry remains a case study in competition, two very similar business models racing for global dominance. For Lidl, keeping pace with Aldi and, in some areas, outmaneuvering it has required relentless focus on cost and smart expansion. This duel continues, benefiting consumers and pressuring all other grocers to respond. U.S. expansion, trials, and adjustments. Lidl's move into the United States in 2017 was one of its most anticipated and challenging ventures. By this time, Lidl was a powerhouse in Europe with over 10,000 stores worldwide, and it aimed to replicate that success across the Atlantic. The company established a U.S. headquarters in Arlington, Virginia, and opened its first American stores in summer of 2017, starting in Virginia and the Carolinas. Initial plans were bold, 100 stores by mid-2018. However, reality set in quickly, and Lidl's U.S. rollout fell short of expectations. By 2018, it had opened only about half of the targeted locations, prompting a strategic rethink. Several factors made the U.S. grocery market a tough nut to crack for Lidl. First, competition was fierce. Walmart and Kroger, the number 1 and number 2 U.S. grocers, are formidable opponents with massive scale. They did not sit idly by as Lidl entered. Walmart, for example, has long been known for aggressively matching competitors' prices, negating some of Lidl's low price advantage on key products. Kroger even welcomed Lidl to America with a lawsuit, suing Lidl for a house brand name, Preferred Selection, that Kroger claimed was too close to its own Private Selection, in an attempt to hobble the newcomer. Lidl fought back, arguing Kroger was simply trying to derail a low-priced rival, and the case was ultimately dismissed. Lidl also faced cultural and operational adjustments. U.S. shoppers are accustomed to larger stores and a wider product range than typical European Lidl outlets. In fact, Lidl initially built U.S. stores almost twice the size of its European ones, around 20 to 36,000 square feet versus 10,000 square feet in Europe, carrying many more items. This led to higher overhead and strayed from the ultra-lean model that made Lidl successful, potentially diluting its efficiency edge. Combined with some less than ideal real estate choices for store locations, these factors contributed to Lidl's early U.S. stumble. Realizing these missteps, Lidl didn't give up on the U.S. Instead, it regrouped. The CEO of Lidl's parent company, Schwarz Group, even called the initial U.S. foray a disaster, leading to a shakeup. In early 2019, Lidl appointed a new U.S. chairman who had roots at Aldi, signaling a desire to inject proven discount grocery expertise. The company scaled back the pace of new store openings and retooled its approach, selecting better locations, right-sizing stores, and refining the product mix to better suit American tastes. By steadily adjusting, Lidl began gaining traction in pockets of the East Coast. It acquired some existing grocery stores, e.g., 27 Best Market stores in New York, New Jersey in 2018, to convert to Lidl format. As of 2024, Lidl had over 170 stores in the U.S., far fewer than Aldi's 2,000 plus, but the foothold is established. Moreover, trends in the U.S. favor discounters. High inflation in food prices has more shoppers looking for bargains, and industry observers note that as American households become smaller, older, and more budget-conscious, Lidl's no-frills, low-cost model could resonate more broadly if executed well. In other words,
Lidl still has potential to grow in the US, provided it learns from its early mistakes and differentiates itself in a saturated market.
Current challenges and future outlook. Having conquered much of Europe and made inroads in America, what challenges does Lidl face now and ahead? The retail landscape is continually evolving, and even a successful giant like Lidl must adapt to new realities. Intense competition everywhere. Traditional supermarkets have not stood still. In the UK, for example, giants like Tesco and Sainsbury's have fought back with price-matching campaigns and slimmed-down store formats to compete with discounters. Some launched their own discount sub-brands, though Tesco's Jack's ultimately flopped. Its very launch was a response to Lidl Aldi's threat. In Europe, other chains like Carrefour, Adeka, and REWE have also adopted elements of the discount model or consolidated to maintain market share. In the US, Walmart and regional grocers aggressively monitor Lidl's pricing. Meanwhile, Aldi continues to expand rapidly worldwide, often entering the same markets Lidl is targeting. This all means Lidl must keep its prices low and quality decent, a constant balancing act, as price wars can squeeze profit margins. Staying ahead will require efficiency gains and perhaps new ways to differentiate beyond just price. E-commerce and digital transition. Historically, the hard discount model is built around in-store shopping, the treasure hunt experience of finding deals in person. But the rise of online grocery shopping poses a challenge. Many consumers now expect the convenience of online ordering and home delivery or pickup. Lidl has been relatively slow into e-commerce, as have Aldi and other discounters, but it recognizes the opportunity. Lidl has partnered with services like Shipt and Boxed for grocery delivery in some markets, and it continues to test e-commerce offerings. Additionally, Lidl is investing in digital tools to enhance customer experience in stores. For instance, in 2025, Lidl began piloting a new self-scanning checkout feature via its Lidl Plus app in several European stores. Embracing technology, from mobile loyalty apps to possible future online storefronts, will be crucial for Lidl to meet modern shoppers' expectations without undermining its low-cost ethos. Supply chain and costs. The global supply chain disruptions of recent years, exacerbated by events like the COVID-19 pandemic and geopolitical tensions, have impacted all retailers. Lidl's model of importing many goods cheaply and efficiently is challenged by rising logistics costs. In response, Lidl took the unusual step of launching its own ocean freight shipping line, Tailwind Shipping, in 2022 to control costs and ensure steadier supply for its products. This move, operating a fleet of container ships, highlights Lidl's willingness to tackle supply chain issues head-on to keep shelves stocked and prices low. Nevertheless, volatility in shipping, commodity prices, and currency exchange can all affect Lidl's margins. The company will need to continue leveraging its scale as part of the world's fifth largest retail group and perhaps diversify sourcing to remain resilient. Regulatory and social challenges. As Lidl grows, it faces greater scrutiny. There have been controversies, such as accusations in 2008 that Lidl spied on its employees and maintained overly intrusive worker surveillance, which damaged its reputation. In some countries, labor unions have clashed with Lidl over working conditions or anti-union stances. The company's secretive culture, Dieter Schwarz is famously private, and the Schwarz Group's inner workings are tightly guarded, sometimes attracts criticism or mistrust. Going forward, Lidl will have to navigate differing labor laws, higher minimum wage mandates, and expectations for corporate transparency, especially as it enters new markets. In addition, sustainability is a growing concern. Lidl has made efforts to burnish its green credentials, reducing food waste, using more renewable energy, aiming for recyclable packaging, etc., and has even partnered with environmental organizations to improve its practices. Ensuring that it meets consumers' and regulators' expectations on environmental and social responsibility is becoming another pillar of long-term competitiveness.
Despite these challenges, Lidl's outlook remains broadly positive. The fundamentals that drove its past success, a focus on value, efficiency, and adaptability, are the same traits that can help it thrive in the future. Economic uncertainties like inflation or recessions often play to Lidl's strengths, as more consumers seek to save money. The company is also exploring growth in new regions, plans for expansion in Eastern Europe are underway, and industry watchers wonder if Lidl might eye markets in Asia or Latin America eventually. After decades of continuous growth, Lidl has shown it can learn and adjust, which bodes well for tackling the next set of challenges in the dynamic retail sector. Lessons from Lidl's journey. Lidl's story offers rich insights for business enthusiasts and entrepreneurs. Here are some key takeaways from its decades of experience. Stick to your core mission. Lidl built its empire by maintaining an unyielding focus on low prices and efficiency. A clear, consistent mission can set a company apart, as long as you execute it relentlessly. Lidl resisted distractions and became synonymous with value. Innovate your model, but don't overextend. While sticking to its core concept, Lidl also tweaked its approach as needed, adding in-store bakeries, adapting store sizes, or updating product mix for local tastes. However, its U.S. adventure showed the perils of straying too far from the proven model. The lesson: innovate, but stay true to what you do best. Know your competition. Lidl succeeded by learning from Aldi and others, rather than ignoring them. It borrowed good ideas, then competed head-on. When entering new markets, Lidl also anticipated reactions, from price wars to lawsuits, and prepared to respond. Businesses should keep a close eye on competitors' strategies while capitalizing on their own strengths. Adapt to local markets. One size doesn't always fit all. Lidl's mixed results abroad underscore the importance of understanding local consumer behavior and preferences. Flexibility in store format, product offerings, or marketing can make the difference between floundering and flourishing in a new environment. Operational excellence as a moat. Lidl turned mundane efficiencies like simple packaging and private labels into a massive competitive advantage. Constantly improving your supply chain and operations might not be glamorous, but it's hard for competitors to replicate easily, and it directly boosts the bottom line. Customer perception matters. Lidl worked to change perceptions that low cost equals low quality. By investing in quality for its price tier and highlighting awards or positive reviews, Lidl won over skeptical shoppers. A business lesson here is to manage brand perception. You must convince customers that your competitive advantage, whether it be price, speed, etc., doesn't come at the expense of other important factors. In summary, Lidl's journey from a single discount shop in 1973 to a global grocery powerhouse in 2025 is a testament to the power of a focused business model and continuous learning. From facing down rivals to entering unknown markets, Lidl has repeatedly shown boldness and adaptability. Aspiring business leaders can learn from Lidl's triumphs and stumbles, whether it's the importance of cost control, the need to respect local market nuances, or the value of patience in expansion. Lidl's story isn't just about supermarkets, it's a case study in strategic growth and the art of competing on what customers value most.